All right. Before we jump into code, tools, or terminology, I want to take a few minutes to explain how I approach teaching to basically any of my technology courses and how I'd like you to approach learning it. So, a lot of people think that teaching tech is just about figuring out what buttons to press. You know, you open this menu, click some icon, and type a command. It's like learning how to operate any kind of machine. And for some tools, sure, yeah, that might be enough. But when you're working with systems, or really anything that has to do with modern computing, it's never as simple as that. Especially now with things like generative AI, you're not just working with tools anymore, you're working with integrated systems, with moving parts. And all of these parts were all built over time by different people for different reasons. And that's the key point right here. And that's why in any of my courses, where I'm introducing technologies to students, I focus about the context in which the technology was created. So specifically, I want you to understand when it was built and why it was built. And by the way, not just so you have some appreciation about the history of some tools that were developed, because that'd be nice, but that's not the point. Most of the tools that we use today weren't invented just for fun. They were designed to solve a specific problem at a specific moment in time. But here's the thing. With anything that we use today, over time, two things always happen. First, the original problem changes. And second, people start using the technology for things that the original creator of it never even imagined. And that matters because you, as someone trying to learn the technology, needs to figure out how it works and how it fits together with everything else that you're using. And that's the rub, because a lot of what you have to learn, you'll find out that it doesn't make sense. And you think to yourself, what were they thinking? Why do we have to go through all these steps? And why does it seem harder than it seems to need to be? And the answer to those questions always comes back to the tech's history. It was the inventor of the technology that we're dealing with at the time that they sat down to create it, and then what's happened since then. So, case in point, the World Wide Web. So the web was created like 35 years ago, so back in 1989. And at that time, when it was first invented, it looked nothing like what we have today. No social media, no videos, no e-commerce, and all web pages, they all look the same. It was like a black text on a white background, and basically everything looked like a plain Word document. Would it surprise you to find out that the web was originally created only as a tool designed to help researchers share their academic and research documents over the internet? That's it. Just a way to publish research papers. And here's the point, is that with that in mind, the web that we know and love today looks nothing like that. And yet, amazingly, it still runs on the same underlying technology. URLs, HTTP, and HTML, and we've stretched those technologies to do things that they were never meant to do. And while we've made them work, and they have evolved somewhat, over the years, we developers are still constrained by the same technologies that were designed to do something completely different a long time ago. And that is why I believe that understanding the original purpose, the why something came into existence, helps you understand the how of what we need to do today. So as a designer or developer, you need to go beyond just learning what buttons to press, because quite frankly, that's not how any of this works. Understanding where it comes from, what problems the tech that you're using was designed originally to solve, is how we build things today. And if it really was just a matter of just pressing the right buttons to get the results that you wanted, well, this would be a vocational school. It's not. Or, you could just take a tutorial online and mindlessly hack away at whatever you get led by the nose to do. And granted, you could learn something, rote memorization of coding patterns and procedures, but honestly, who has time for that? When things evolve, and you know that they always do, and you need to pick up the next new hot framework that everyone's talking about, will you be able to wrap your head around it? And will any of it make sense? And that's my point. the technology has got to make sense to you. And by the way, how does this generative AI and vibe coding play into all of this? Well, remember, code generators were trained on specific things that we web developers did over the years. For the web, that's about 35 years of tricks and techniques that we came up with to do the things and solve specific problems that we needed to do. But that said, about learning new technologies, it's not just a matter of pressing the right buttons and getting the right results, like I said, kind of like a machine, but that is what generative AI is good at, pressing buttons like a machine. And the problem is that it really doesn't have the ability to evaluate whether those buttons pressed actually achieve what we want to do in the way that we want it done, because that's our job. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to write the HTML and the CSS and the JavaScript code for your navigation bar that you want to put on your website, oh yeah, it'll do that. But remember the part about how things change over time. 35 years of building websites have resulted in 35 years of best practices and tools and techniques, and your favorite AI can certainly replicate that. But the question is, which one is the right one or the best one for the thing that you're trying to do? Which one incorporates the usability principles for the website that you're trying to build? And would you be even able to tell the difference? And that's what this course is all about. So let's get started.